So I took on a big challenge today. One of my subscribers requested that I recreate a website from one of Astra's Agency Starter Template. I checked that out and it's actually created using Elementor. And as you know, I don't like to use page builders because they will slow down your website. So my biggest challenge is to create the entire site only through the WordPress editor. Honestly, I only have the Astra Pro account, so I can't load the template on my website to see what's going on the back end. So I had to do a lot of trial and error and inspecting the source codes to find the right elements for the site. And although I wish to say that I've created a 100% replica of the site, the reality is there are just certain things that you can't do on a WordPress editor. But I'm happy to say that the site I created is 85 to 90% identical. So what you're looking at is on the left is the site that I've created and on the right is the Astra Agency Starter site. Looks kind of identical, right? And when I tested the size, the Agency Starter Template against mine on Google PageSpeed Insights, Pingdom Tools and GTmetrix, the speed performance of my creation is the winner. Otherwise, why would I waste my time doing it on a WordPress editor, right? It's so much easier to design the site with Elementor. So this site is a little challenging, but I actually created this tutorial with the intention to teach a beginner to build something this advanced, and I really hope that I've done a good job. So at any point in time, if you feel that something is a little too difficult to understand, or you feel that some parts are a little too fast or too slow, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you see any web pages on the internet that you wish that I create a tutorial around it, let me know in the comments as well, and don't forget to smash that thumbs up. It will really help this video and the channel, so thank you, I really appreciate that. So in this tutorial, I'm trying to help you save money on the Astra Agency bundle. If you follow along, you don't need to buy the agency plan just for the starter template. All you need is the Astra Pro account. And if you want the latest discounts on the Astra Pro, links in the description. So without further ado, let us check out the site we are going to recreate today from scratch. So let's go. So we're gonna create something like this where there is a very nice call to action here, and these 3 styled boxes here looks amazing. And then we have the new arrivals. Whenever you publish a new product on your store, it will be shown here. And then we have another call to action followed by the best seller from your store, some logos and styled box with a hover effect, some testimonials, another call to action, and then finally the footer. And if we move to the shop page, there are a total of 12 products we're going to create. Then there is a right sidebar where there are product categories and product tags, and then each individual product page will look like this. And when we add to cart, the cart page looks like this, and the checkout page looks like this. We will not touch the About Us, Testimonial and Contact Us page in this video, otherwise this video will be extremely long. But I think with the knowledge on how to build the home page and the shop page, you will know how to create those other pages. So we are going to start with creating the e-commerce store before we move on to the home page, because otherwise we won't be able to fetch the data from the store and put it on the home page. So first thing first, in this tutorial we'll be using the Astra Pro theme. So if you want to follow along, you may need to get a pro version of the theme, and other than the paid version of the theme, everything else I use in this tutorial is completely free. So there's one more important thing. To follow along this tutorial, you may want to download the zip file in the description where it contains all the images, the links, the CSS codes that will be used in this tutorial. And once you've done all that, we are ready to start with building the site. So we are on a WordPress dashboard on the left, and on the right is how the site is looking right now. I think the best way for me to do a WordPress tutorial is to show you what's happening on the back end as well as the live view of on the same screen. I feel it's much easier this way. I hope you feel the same way too. So I've just installed WordPress on this site with the default theme. So we need to install the Astra theme as well as the Pro plugin. So the first thing we need to do is to go to Appearance and Themes, and we need to add new. Let's search for Astra. Let's install this and activate. And once it's activated, let's delete all these unnecessary themes, because we don't want our site to be cluttered with unused items that will hog up the web space, which will in turn slow down our site a little. So now the only theme that is installed is Astra. Let us install the plugins now. Let's go to plugins and add new. Now if you don't have an Astra Pro account, you need to go to the web browser, type in jackchow.com/Astra, and it will bring you to this page. And as you click on buy now, you see all the discounts here. So we only need the Astra Pro for this tutorial, so we can get this plan is $47 with discount, and without discount is $59. So if you don't have Astra Pro yet, you can pause this video and get it. So let's move on. Let me log into my account. So I've logged into my account, and to access your downloads, you can go to Account and Downloads. We need to download this plugin, Astra Pro add-on plugin, and once you click on that, it will automatically be downloaded. And once it's downloaded, let's go back to our WordPress dashboard. Let's upload plugin, click on browse to select the file you have just downloaded, and then install now. And then once it's installed, let's activate the plugin. And then we need to activate your Astra Pro by clicking this link. To get your license key, you need to go to your account under Account and Licenses, and you will see it there. So let me activate my license, and now it's activated. Now let us install two other plugins. We need the Kadence blocks as well as WooCommerce. So let's go to Plugins, Add New. Let's search for Kadence. And this is the plugin we need by Kadence WP. Let's install and activate. Now let's go to Plugins again, Add New, search for WooCommerce. Let's install and activate. Now, whenever you install WooCommerce on WordPress, they will have this simple setup guide where you need to input your store details, industry, product types and all. So let me quickly walk you through the steps. Now, if you already have a business address, you can put it in here. But if you're completely new, you don't have any business, you can put in your home address here. But that's not advisable because obviously you don't want your residential address to be on the internet. So my advice is to get some virtual business address. But for this case, let us input the address from the demo site. Let's go to a new browser. And let's use this address. And let's continue. And then because in this example, we're building up a baby store, so let's say it's fashion, apparel and accessories. And let's click on continue. And you'll see all these upsells, you don't need them. These are plugins from WooCommerce. So all we need is this physical products. Let's continue. And because from the store, there are about 12 products, so we'll select about 11 to 100 products. And if you have experience in building a store other than WooCommerce, maybe it's Shopify, you can put in the details here. But this is actually nothing, it's just WooCommerce trying to get data from its users. So I'll select no. So for this case, we don't need this. Let's uncheck this and continue. And we already have Astra installed. You can either click on continue, or you can just scroll all the way down to the bottom and skip this step. And then we don't want to install Jetpack, let's click on no thanks. And if you want WooCommerce to walk you through all the other steps, you can continue to click on next, but otherwise I'll close this off and we're done with the first step. The next step is to add products. We won't be going through these other steps here. I'll be creating separate videos on this, so if you want more WordPress tutorials, do remember to subscribe to the channel. And can you do me a favor and smash that thumbs up button if you haven't done so? So now one thing we need to configure is the base currency of your store. For this case, because we have input a US address, the base currency is US dollars. So if you have put in your local address and your store is actually targeting people in the US, you definitely want to set up the base currency as US dollars. So to do that, let's go to settings under WooCommerce. Then you can scroll down all the way and you can see this currency options. You need to select this to US dollars and then make sure you save changes. So we are basically done with the setup. Our next step is to create a store like this. So now let us create a shop page like this. But first, let us see how our site looks like. So as you can see, this is a blank Astra theme website, and by default, WooCommerce will create a shop page for you, so it's /shop on whatever domain you have, and as you hit enter, this is the default shop page. So we have no products here, let us add some. So if you want to follow along this tutorial, I have some product images for you to download. The link is in the description. I've labeled those images so it's easy for you to follow along. So to add a product, let's go to Products, Add New. And let's check out our demo product store. So let's go to page 2. This is the first product. Let's click on that. So this is the product name. Let's copy this and put the product name here. And then whatever text that you put in here, it will basically appear here and it's not here. I will show you what I mean in just a while. So let's say over here, I put in, this is the description. This will basically appear down here and not the product description here. So for this to appear here, Let us copy this. Let us scroll down. This is the product short description which will appear over here at the top. So let us paste the text here. And for the product image to appear, we need to set the product image here. Do not add media here or here. So let's add a product image, select files, and this is product number 1. As you can see, I've labeled 1 here. Let us select this. You may want to add an alt text for SEO purpose to tell Google what your product is about. You can even copy the title and place it here. And let's set product image. Let us put in the price of the product. This is $28. And over here you can see there is this clothes category and there are 3 tags here: baby, boy, and clothes. So we need to create a new category by clicking this and then click on add new category. So make sure this is checked so that the product will be tagged to this category. And then next, under product tags, we want to add in baby, comma, boy, comma, and clothes. And then let's add them. You can see that 3 product tags have been added. So we are done with this product. Let's publish this. And if we go to our store, let's refresh this. You'll see our first product here. Let's not care much about the design first. We will do it later on. Let us add all the other 11 products and then we'll touch on the design. So the process is exactly the same, but first let me show you the description. Let us click into the product. And as you can see here, this is the description, is basically appearing at the bottom of the page. And this is the short description that appears here. So make sure you input the right details in the right place. So for now, let me create the other 11 products. The process is exactly the same, so I'll probably fast forward the process. If you are following along, you may want to pause this video and create the other 11 products, and then we'll move forward from there. Okay, and we are done adding the 12 products. Let's take a look at our store now. So as you can see, we have 12 products here. And let me expand this a little so it will reflect the desktop view. So what we want to achieve is something like this, where we have the product categories and the product tags and the recently viewed products. But currently, our website only has the 12 products without any sidebars. So to do that, let's head over to Appearance and Customize. Let's go to Sidebar. And under WooCommerce, we want to change this to Right Sidebar. And let us publish this. And let's check out how our store looks like right now. So we have this empty space right here for the right sidebar. We haven't added anything yet, so let's add something to it. Let's head back to our WordPress dashboard by clicking this X. And then under Appearance, Widgets. If you scroll down all the way, you'll see this WooCommerce sidebar. Expand that. You want to select product categories over here. Click and drag it to the WooCommerce sidebar and release it. There's nothing that we need to change here. Next, let's search for product tag, which is this. Let's click and drag it into the WooCommerce sidebar. And finally, we need to search for recent viewed products, which is over here. Let's click on that and drag it here. So we are done with this. Let us refresh and we'll see the sidebar appearing here. Next, if we go to our demo store, there are basically 3 products in a row and they're displaying 9 products at a time. So that's what we need to customize. Let's head over back to the customizer. Let's go to Appearance and Customize. And let's go to WooCommerce, Product Catalog. And then over here, we want to change this to 9 products per page. And we want to change this to 3 columns as well. And let's publish this. And let's go to our site and refresh. And it kind of looks the same right now. Let's do some more settings. As you can see, there are no ratings here and there is no add to cart button. And on our side, we have these. So if we head over to the customizer, let us click on this eye to disable this, as well as the add to cart. And let's remove the category as well. Let us publish this. So whenever you want to see the changes on your live site, you will always need to publish, and on your live site, you always need to refresh. So you'll see the changes. Next, if we go to the demo site, you can see by default, it is sort by latest. And on our side, it is default sorting. So to change this, let's head over to our customizer, and under default product sorting, you want to select sort by most recent. And let's publish this. Let's refresh. And there you have it. Now we're basically done with the main setting. Let's change the font. So let's go to the customizer, and it seems that I have not activated the Astra Pro functions. So let us go back to the WordPress dashboard. Under Appearance, go to Astra Options, and then we want to activate all. And when this is done, let's go to the customizer again. And if we go to WooCommerce, under Product Catalog, as we scroll down, there are more options here. So to change the font, we need to look at the typography here. For the demo site, it's using a font called Sriracha. So let's click on this edit title and scroll down. Under family, you want to expand this and search for SRIR, and you see this Sriracha here. Let's select this and you see this changed. So let's close this and let's select the color. So the product title color is a little purple. The exact font code is this. So let's close this off. Typography for the price. Let's scroll down. The font family is actually Open Sans. Let's select this. Let's close this off. And for the product price color, this is the color code. So let's close this off. Let's publish this. And let's go to our site, refresh. And you'll see that now it looks very much alike the demo site. Now if you go to the demo store and you scroll down all the way to this, we want to change this Pagination color to this purple, because if you go to our site and you scroll down, on our side it is blue color. So to change this, let's hit back again, and let's go to Global, Colors, Base Colors. Under this link color, we want to type in this code. And as you change this, if you scroll down, it will show you the changes in the customizer. Let's click away and publish this so that on our live site, as we refresh, we will see the changes. So we are basically done with the WooCommerce settings. Let me show you what other stuff we can customize on WooCommerce. So let's head to WooCommerce. Under Product Catalog, if you scroll down, the content alignment, you can change it to center or to the right. But for this case, it is left. And if you want to put some shadow behind the product box, you can do so by toggling this. And you can see the changes. And if you want to put a hover shadow as well, you can toggle this. But make sure your hover shadow is a little more than the box shadow so you will see the effect. Because if you put it the same, you can't actually see the effect. So you can do this and you'll see the effect here. And you can even do something more. For example, if you put the fade effect, and as you hover, you can see the fade effect as you hover to the images. And if we change it to zoom, the product images will zoom as you hover to the product image. So we can play around with this. As for the button, we have removed the add to cart button, so we won't change any of this. And as for the shop pagination, it's basically this. We can change the style to maybe circle. You can see the changes here, or square. So we are basically done with this. Let's now customize each individual product. Let's, for example, click on this and let's compare it with our site. So as you can see, there is this blank space here for the sidebar, and we don't need this on a single product. So if we head back to the main menu and click on sidebar, and over at a single product, we want to change this to no sidebar. And as we publish this and refresh it on our page, the single product page will look like this. But as you can see, there is a difference because there are some spacing between the header and the content, and on our side there is no spacing at all. So what we need to do is to go back to the main menu, and under Global, Container, under WooCommerce Layout, we want to select Content Boxed. And let's publish this and refresh. You'll basically see that they're almost identical. Let us go back to our shop page, and as you can see, there are some changes here which is not ideal. So to change this, let's go back to the main menu, select Global, Colors, under Base Colors, and select Background. We want to change this to white. And if we publish this and refresh, it's basically the same. Let's click on the single product. Now let's edit the Add to Cart button. So if we go back here, let's hit back again. Let's select buttons and color. We want to change the background color to this. This is the color code. And let's publish this and refresh. You can see the changes here. But as you can see, the demo button, there are some curvature. So to do that, let's click on border, and under border radius, we want to put it maybe 20, and let's publish this. And if you go back to our sites and refresh, you see the curve here. So it's basically looking similar now. Let's edit the cart page. So let's add this to cart and let's view cart. Let's do the same for the demo site. Let's add to cart. And as you can see on the cart page for the demo site, there is no sidebar, and for ours there is a sidebar here, and everything else is basically the same. So what we need to do, if you are logged into your WordPress editor, you should be able to see this bar over here. You need to click on edit page. Let's close this off and scroll all the way to the bottom. And over at this sidebar here, the customizer setting, you want to open this up and select no sidebar. And let's update this. And let's view page, and we'll see the sidebar gone. So the cart page is basically the same. We are basically done with setting up the store. So we are on the WordPress dashboard, and this is how our homepage looks right now. So the first thing we need to do is to create a new page, and let's go to pages and add new, and then let's call this home. Let's just publish this page first, and we'll come to that later. Okay, this is published. Let's go back to our WordPress dashboard. Now the next thing we need to do is to go to settings, and under reading, we want to change your homepage displays to a static page. And under homepage, we want to select home. Now the reason I asked you to publish a blank page is because if you don't publish that page, you won't be able to select this homepage here. So as we save changes and we refresh our live page, you'll see this title we have just created here. So let's go back to the home page under all pages, and let's edit this. So for the sidebar of this page, let's select no sidebar, and let's update this, and I believe this will be gone. So let's refresh, and this is gone. Now let us go step by step. We'll first create the header of the website, and then we'll move down to all the other elements. So let's go back to our WordPress dashboard by clicking the WordPress logo, and let's go to appearance and customize. Now let's select the header builder, and over here, as you can see, we have this logo here, and this section basically represents the header section here. Currently, only the main section is used. The top and the bottom section is not used. So whenever you want to add any elements to the header, you just need to click this plus, and here are the elements that you can select. So we will not do this now. Let's click on this logo, and then let's select logo. And again, the images can be downloaded from the link in the description. So let's upload files. Let's select files under homepage images. Let's select this. Let's select and skip cropping, and we can see that it's basically uploaded here. So we don't need this site title, which is over here. Let us uncheck this, and the site title is gone. Now let me expand this a little so you can immediately see the changes instead of the mobile view. Now one more thing we need to add is this favicon here. As you can see, our website still has the default WordPress icon here. So to do that, let's go to the bottom under site icon. We want to select site icon, upload files, and select this favicon here. You may want to change the title in alt text for SEO purposes. So let's say if your website is named babyproducts.com, then you may want to put in baby products at the alt text here. So let's select this, skip cropping, and let's publish this, and let us refresh. We'll see the site icon changed. Now the next thing we want to do is to edit this header menu to look like this. So what we need to do is to click on this primary menu, which reflects whatever that is here. So let's click on that, and then we want to configure menu from here. And as you can see, there are no menus selected because we haven't created one. So let's click on create new menu. Let's give this menu a name. Let's say it's main, and then we want to check the mobile menu as well, and next. Now we want to add items. We want to select the home page. We want to select the shop page. We don't have an about me page now, so let's do custom links. Let's put in about us, and for the URL, we'll just put in a hashtag and add to menu. So what this will do is whenever someone click on about us, but you don't have the page yet, the visitor will stay on the page. It will not be redirected. So we don't have a testimonial page as well, so let's just create a dummy link and a contact us as well. And we're done with this. Let us publish this, And as you can see, the changes are reflected here. So what we want to do next is to add this card icon here. So to do that, let's go back to our header builder. And then let's just hover to the header customizer section. And as you see the plus, let's click on that and let's search for cards. Let's click on this. And immediately we can see a card here. But we need to change the design. We need to remove this card and the price tag here. So let's click on card. Let's uncheck display card total as well as the card title. So now we need to change the color of this card. So what we need to do is to go back to the front and let's select global colors, base colors, and under theme color, we want to change the color code to this. And as you click away and publish, let's go to our store and refresh. And as we refresh, this is basically gone. So now let's start creating the rest of the page. And as we can see here, we don't want the page title to appear. So let's go back to our WordPress dashboard. And under all pages, let us edit the home page. So on the right, as you can see, disable sections, we want to disable title. And let us refresh. And we'll basically see this gone. So we're basically starting with a blank page. Let us do one thing. Let us right click on this WordPress logo and open in a new tab. And on the dashboard, let's go to appearance and customize. So now what we are going to do is to add these two background shapes over here, the green shape and the pink shape. So basically these are not your standard images like the PNGs and the JPEGs. This is basically a SVG file, which is the scalable vector graphic, which I don't recommend you to download the SVG file and upload it into your site because that's a little advanced and a little technical. So what I would do is I have prepared the CSS codes for you to copy and just paste it in. And this is the CSS code and it's basically the same photo you have downloaded from the link in the description. It's a text file with the name called background CSS. So as you open that up, you will see something like this. Let's copy everything and then let's go to the customizer under additional CSS. Let's click on this and you want to paste this and let's publish. And as we go to the live page, you basically see the background images there. But because over at the demo site, this header menu is basically transparent. So what we'll do is to go back to our customizer under header builder and header types. We want to click on this transparent header and let's check this box enable on complete site and let's publish this, refresh, and you can basically see the footer squeezed to the top. Don't worry about that. As we add elements to the page, this footer will be pushed down. So we are basically done with the header and the background. Let us go to the page and add these elements. To do that, let's go back to the first tab on the WordPress editor. Let's click on add block and search for this row layout. If you don't see it here, you can just search for it and it will appear. Let's click on that. Let's first select this one column layout. Now before we do anything else, I want to share with you a concept of layers on a website. Because without this basic understanding, whatever that I do on the WordPress editor, I'm pretty sure you'll feel confused. So this is something really important for you to understand when it comes to building up pages. All web pages are built with layers. So let's say on the site we're going to build, we'll first start with the background layer, which are these two shapes. And because we need to add text and buttons on the left and an image on the right, we have to first add a layout layer with two columns on top of the background layer. This layer will be transparent on the page, but it will serve as a container for you to add elements to it. So to add a text on top of this layout layer, the text is considered a layer by itself and it is stacking up on top of the layout layer. The same goes for the button. And on the right, we need to put a yellow shape on top of the layout layer and then followed by the baby image that will stack on top of the yellow shape layer. So every web page works the same. It is layers on top of layers on top of layers. This is the core principle you need to understand to build any site. And if you don't understand this, what I'm about to share with you, you will be utterly confused. So now that we understand how layers on a web page works, let's continue. So we are on the WordPress editor for the home page, and the first thing we need to do is to add a block. Let's click on this. We need to add a row layout, and if you don't see row layout here, you can just search for row and this will appear. Let's select this, and we want to add this one column one row option, and this is basically for the base layer. Next we want to go to the row layout layer, and then you want to head back to the top here, click on this. You want to change this to full width so that the background layer will extend to the ends of the web page. And then next, under the block setting, we want to head down to the structure settings. We want to toggle this content max width inherit from theme, so that whatever content we put in this row layout will follow the maximum content width of the theme. Now let's click on add block again. We want to select row layout again, and this time around we will select 2 equal columns. And what we are trying to achieve is this. As you can see, this section over here is one column where it contains all the text and button, and over here is another column where it contains the baby image. So that's what we want to achieve over here. So let's add the baby image. Let's click on add block. Let's select this image block. If you don't see this here, again, just search for it here, and let's upload. Select this, number 3. And then next, there is this yellow circle behind the baby image, just like this. So we need to select the layer before the baby image. So over at our WordPress editor, if you look at the image layer, we want to select the layer before, which is this section. Let's click on this and let's add an image. Let's select image, upload files, and this is number 4 here. And I've uploaded it here. Let's select this. Now as you can see, it's not a full circle, so we need to select this contain. And basically what this means is the circle will not go out of the section layer. And let's update this, and let's go to our site and refresh, and we'll see the baby here. Now let us add the text. So over here we have this line of text here. So over on the left column, we want to add a block. This is basically an icon list. Let's select this. So let's change this default icon. So over on the right, we see this edit all icon styles together. We want to change this. Let us delete this away and click on this again. And over here, search icons, we want to search tag. And this is the closest option. Let's select this. Next, you want to change the color of the icon. So let's go to list text styling under color settings. We want to change it to this code. And then let's click away. Now let's add the text. And this is basically done. Next, let's add the title. Let's copy this text and let's add a block. We want to select this heading block. Let's paste the text here. We want to change this to H1. Next, let's add some text here. Let's copy this. Head over to add block, select paragraph, and let's paste the text. Next, it is this line of text here. Let's copy, add block, paragraph, paste. And for this line of text, let's change the text color to maybe something lighter, like this. And the reason is because this is a lighter color font. And we forget the star here. Let me add the asterisk here. Next, as you can see, within this column itself, there is a button and a line of text side by side. So this is basically 2 equal columns. One column here for the button and one column here for the text. So what we want to do is head over to this add block. Let's add another row layout. Let's select 2 equal column. And over at the left column, we want to add a button. So let's search for button. Let's select this advanced button. So we want to add the text and let's design this button by clicking this button 1 settings. So the background color of the button, we want to change it to this code. Let's click away. The text color, we want to change it to white. And the border color, we want to make it transparent. As you click on this and you toggle, this is basically toggling the opacity of the element. So if you go all the way to the far left, that element becomes transparent. So let's click away. For the border radius, we want to put maybe 15. Next, we want to add this line of text here. Let's copy this and head over to the right column block right beside the button. Let's add a paragraph and let's paste the text. So basically, the button and the text are the same color. So let's select this. Let's copy this color code. Let's change the color settings for this text. Custom color. Paste the code here. And this is bold and italic. Let's first update this and let's see the result. So what happened here is because the header menu is transparent, so everything else on the page is pushed up. So we need to add some padding here. So what we need to do on the WordPress editor is to select this row layout, which is the base layer, and then under padding and margin, over here at the top padding, we want to add lots of space. So let me explain a little the padding and margin. Now this is also a core principle you have to understand. So let's say this rectangle represents a layer on a web page, and then on top of that layer we have a text layer. So padding is basically the space between the borders of the rectangle and the text layer. So if you add, for example, a 30 pixels of padding on the left, it will shift the text layer a little towards the right. And if you add too much padding from the left and right, your text layer will be squeezed and it will not look very nice. You can also add padding from the top or bottom. If you add padding from the top, the text layer will move downwards and vice versa. So padding is basically the space within a layer. Now margin is a little different. It controls everything that is out of the rectangle layer. So for example, if you want to shift the rectangle layer down with all the elements in it, you will add margin from the top, and a rectangle with all the elements will shift down. The same goes for the other sides. But one important thing is with margin, you can have a negative value. But with padding, the minimum you can go is 0, because with padding, you can't control anything that is outside of the layer. You can only control the inner spacing. So for example, this rectangle is on position 0. If you want to shift it down, you add margin. But if you want to move it up, it is going to be a negative value. You can't shift this text layer out of the rectangle layer through the padding. I hope this illustration helps. So back to the WordPress editor, we've added a lot of space at the top. So if we update this, everything within the base layer will be pushed down. So let's refresh this and we can see everything is pushed down, which is quite awesome. Next, we want to create this dotted divider. So let's hit enter and add a block. Let's search for divider, select this. So firstly, the divider are dashed, and then the color of it is the same color as the rest. And let us make the divider a little thicker. And for the divider width, we want to put this as 40%. And let us update and refresh. This is basically not aligned properly. We probably need to align this line of text center. So that's what we're going to do on a WordPress editor. Let's click on this, select this, align text center. Let's update again and refresh. This is aligned properly, but now this is too far apart, and this is due to the padding and margin. So let's click on the divider. You'll see that it is 60 pixels, which is reflected here. Let us reduce it down to 0, and let's update and try it out. This is looking quite decent already, but let's spread this out. Let's say maybe the width is 60. Let's change this to 1. Let's update it, refresh. Let's now change it to maybe dot. Let's increase the size and remove the height. Update, refresh, and it's looking quite decent. So before we move forward, let us check the mobile version. So this is how it looks like on our mobile. And let's go to the demo site. It's rather similar, which is quite awesome. But let's try to stretch this divider out to the max. Let's click on the divider. Let's select mobile. Let's try to put this as 100%. I'm not sure if this will affect the desktop version, but let's try it. So it's not ideal. I think we can probably change it to 80%. Let's try it again. I think this is decent enough. So now the only differences are the fonts. Let's not worry about this. Let's change all of them later on. So let's go back to the desktop version and let's go to the next section. So now let's create these 3 beautiful boxes here. So over on the WordPress editor, let's click on this add block. We want to add a row layout, 1 column. Select this row layout. We want to make this full width as well as the structure settings. The same thing, we need to toggle this. And then once again, let's add another row layout. And this time around, we want to select 3 equal columns. So on the first column, let us add an image first. Let's select the image block, upload an image. This is number 5. And then next, as you can see over here, there are 3 different colors of shapes, and these are not the standard image formats. It's just like the side background. These are SVG images. So what I've done is I've created a separate text document for you. It's called SVG images.txt under the same folder you've downloaded, and these are the 3 image links for these 3 boxes. So to add these images, let us select the layer before the image, which is this. And let's add an image. Let's insert from URL. Let's copy this URL and paste it here. Next, you want to select contain. And for this, you want to put maybe 55. and over here 98, and let's update. Let's go to our site, refresh, and we'll see it here. So now we want to add some background colors to this section to differentiate between the main background and these three boxes. As you can see over here, the background of the box is a little grayish instead of white. So to do this, let's select the same section, and under the background color, we want to change it a little, something like this. And let's update this and refresh. We can see the background color changed. Now we need to add some border radius to make this a little curvy. So under the same layer, we have this border radius. Let's put this 20, update, refresh, and here we go. So now let's add a text. So on our WordPress editor, let's add a row layout first. Let's select this, and then let's add a heading. So the heading we have is princess. So that's what we want to put in here. Let's align this center. Let's select the row layout and bring this up. Now again, we want to add another row layout. And the reason for me doing this is because if I don't stack these layers up, I would not be able to create an effect like this. If all these text and images are under the same layer, they'll have a lot of white space in between, and I can't reduce the white space for each element. And that's why I'm trying to separate the image, this text, as well as this best choice for you text to separate layers so that I can adjust the padding for each. I hope you understand what I'm trying to do. I'm basically trying to stack layers after layers for each of the elements, because on the WordPress editor, we can't change the padding and margin for each of the elements. So that's what I'm trying to do. I want to add another row layout. Click on this. Let's add a paragraph. Let's align this center, and let's select the row layout, and then let's move it up. Now as we update this and as we refresh, you can see that over here there is a huge white space here, and if I don't separate this with layers, I cannot push this down. So now our task is to push this two line of text close to the image, just like this. But first, let's change this. Let's give this text an italic. And now let's select this princess layer, go to row layout, under padding and margin. Let us change this margin to 0, and then let's change this bottom margin to maybe -50, and let's update, refresh. We can see that the princess heading is now close to the image. Next, we want to select this line of text, go to row layout, under padding and margin. For the bottom margin, let us put maybe -50, and let us test this out. And this is exactly what we are looking for. Now we need to add this text link here, and this is basically a button. So let's click on add block. We don't need to add another row layout anymore because we don't need to adjust the padding and margin for this element. So let's just select advanced button. So under button settings, the color of the button text is the same as the background for this color. So let's copy this color code and let's hit back down to the button. Let's change the text color, and then there is no border for this, so let's make this transparent. Let's add the button text, and as we hover, I don't want this black background, so let's go to hover. Let's change the background color to transparent. Same goes for the border. But the text color, I want to change it maybe to green, which is exactly the same as the demo site here. So as we hover it now, you can see that it's similar, but we need to bold this text, and also we need to add this arrow. So let's scroll down to this icon settings. Let's click on select icon, and here is the arrow. Let's click on this, and there you have it here. So let's update. Let's go to our site and refresh. The shop now needs to go down. Let's move down. And sorry, I built this button on the wrong layer, so I can't actually move it down because I built it within this princess layer here. So I would need to create another. So let me copy the styles first. And then let's click on this image. We can see this add block here. This is what we need because it's on the same layer as the image. So let's add a block, advanced button. Let's click on this and paste styles. There's some bug here, but let me fast forward and create the same button. So now let me remove this button over here. And let us update, refresh. And this is looking almost similar to this. Next, let us create a second styled box. And let me show you a trick. Let us go to this section layer. Make sure the correct section is selected. Let us copy styles. And then let us click on the second column. Make sure this section is selected. Let us paste styles. But now I need to remove this image and insert from URL again. And let's copy the second link and paste it here. And now because within this styled box, there are two columns. One column for the text and one column for the image. So within the column itself, let's add block, a row layout. Let's select two equal columns. And then on the right, let's insert the image. Let's upload. This is number 6. And we have it here. So over on the left, we want to add block, add a paragraph. Let's put this 20% off. Let's change the color. And let's give this italic. Let us first update and see what's happening. So first thing first, shape is not towards the end. So let us adjust that. Let us select the section. Let us play around with this. Let's give this maybe 100%. And for the top, we have put it 0. Let's update and test this out. And awesome, this is what we need. So for the 20%, we need the off here. And then next, we need to add another block. And this time round, we are stacking layers again. So let's do a row layout. Select one column. We need to add a heading. And then we are done. Let's add block again. Another row layout. Let's add a paragraph. Let's paste it here and let's update. So let's see what's happening. So now we need to reduce the padding here. So let's first go to the newborn essentials. Let's select the row layout. Under padding and margin, let us put the top margin as 0. And for the bottom margin, we want to put maybe -50. Let's update, refresh. We don't see any changes. Let's click on the text element. Let's select the row layout, padding and margin. For the top margin, let's put this as 0. And let's update, refresh. Let's try removing the padding for the top as well. Okay, now it's moving. So now let's remove all the paddings and margins. Let's try to update. It's getting better. Let's try it for the newborn essentials. Select the row layout, padding and margin. Let's update and refresh again. Looking much better. And as for the baby layer here, let us try to remove the padding. So let's click on the image and let's select the row layout. Under padding and margin, let's put the left and right padding to 0 and update. Not exactly ideal because we need a little bit of space here. So over here on the right, let's add a padding of maybe 10. And you can see a little bit of space here. So we need to add some padding to all these layers here. So under this entire section, this row layout, under padding and margin, let's add a left padding of 10. Update, refresh, not working. So now let's select this section. Let us add a padding on the left to maybe a 10 pixels. Let's update this, refresh, and we have some space here. Now let's adjust the 20% off. So let's select the text, select the row layout. Under padding and margin, we want to give the bottom margin to maybe -50. Let's update, refresh. It's not working because I've selected the wrong layer. You know, this kind of things happen, so it's all about trial and error. So I won't bore you with the details. I know you already know about the padding and margin. By now you should be quite familiar with it already. So let me complete this box, which is quite a complicated task, as you can see, and then let's move on to the next, which is going to be quite similar as well. So this is the best I can do for the second box. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. Now let's add this third styled box, and it's exactly the same process, and the only thing that I can't configure is this 25% off section with the red background here. This is not something you can achieve with the WordPress editor unless your entire background is one layer, because over here, if you look at the source code, there are basically two SVG files. One is this green SVG file and one is this red SVG file here. So unless you combine these two as an image, it's almost impossible to do it with the WordPress editor. So similarly, let's select this section layer. Let's copy styles. Select this section layer. Let's paste the styles. And we want to remove this image. Let's select the third link, copy this, insert URL. Let's adjust this a little. And then let's add an image first to see what's going on. This is number 7. Let's close it back because there were just too many layers and I couldn't click on the upload button. So let us update, refresh. So I won't bore you with the details, let me just adjust this and then I will show you the final product and I'll tell you what settings they are. So we are basically done with the third styled box. Now let me show you the layers and their settings. So if we select this section and we uploaded the background image, it's left 55% and top 1. Actually we can reduce it down to 0. And then it's contain, no repeat, scroll. We didn't change any padding and margin for this layer. And then the layer on top of this section is this hot toys. So under the hot toys heading layer, I didn't change anything for the section, but I changed the margin and padding for the row layout. So I've basically put all the padding and margin 0. Next, I added another layer on top, which is this new arrivals. And I changed the padding and margin for this row layout. So this is the settings under the margin. At the bottom margin, I put a -30. And then right below this image layer, I added a shop now button. So there are no adjustments of the padding and margin for this button. So we are basically done with these 3 styled boxes. So the next thing we want to do is this new arrivals here. So now let's create this new arrivals section, and this is actually quite simple. On our WordPress editor, let's scroll down. On a completely new section, let's add a row layout. Select row layout, make sure this is the full width, and then under structure settings, we do the same thing. And then let's go to background settings. As you can see over here, the background is a little gray, so let's select color. Let's paste in this code. Next, we want to add the title. So let's head over to our WordPress editor, add blog, heading, new arrivals. Let's align it center. Then let's hit enter. Let's copy this line of text here and let's place it here. Align it center as well. Now next to produce this is actually quite simple. And the reason why we created the shop page first is because we can draw the data from the shop. Because WooCommerce has a few Gutenberg blogs ready on the WordPress editor. So let's add a blog. Let's browse all. Let's head down all the way to WooCommerce. So these are all the Gutenberg blogs you can use on the WordPress editor. So for this case, we want to select newest products. Let's click on that. And as you can see, the blog automatically draw out the newest products from your shop. So we want this line of text above Let's just move it up. So as you can see from the demo site, there are only 4 new products. And on our WordPress editor, there are a total of 9 products here. So that's not what we want. We want to have only 4 columns and 1 row. So 4 columns here and 1 row. That's how the grid table works. So over on the demo site, as you can see, there is only the product title and the price. So on our WordPress editor, let's remove the product rating as well as the add to cart button. And that's basically it. And we're basically done. Let's update and let's go to our site, refresh, and let's check it out. So there's a little bit of spacing here. So over at the section, let's add some padding. And let's update this. Refresh again, and you see some paddings here. There's some padding at the top as well, so let's put maybe 50, and there you go. Let's check out how the demo store look on mobile. So it basically has 2 columns and 2 rows, and let's check out ours. The same as well. So we're basically done with this section. So this is the best that we can do on the site. This is the desktop version, and if we size it down, this is the mobile version. And on a demo site, the mobile version looks quite similar, but the desktop version looks this way. So this is something that we can't do on the WordPress editor. That's really unfortunate. This is the best that we can do. So if you want to follow along and do this, I'll show you the steps. Okay, so now we're going to create this section here. And probably this is one of the most tricky elements on the page. But let me walk you through step by step. So basically, we're still in the same row layout as the new arrivals. So we need to select the right layer. So what we need to do is to click within the row layout, and in the same section, we're going to create another row layout. We'll first create the background layer for this. And let's first select the row layout layer. Let's go to padding and margin. Let us add a right padding, as you can see over here. There is a small gap over here, and that's what we want to achieve. So we'll put maybe a 30, and on the left padding, we want to make it 0. And that's it for this row layout. Let us add another block. We want to select row layout again, and we want to select 2 equal columns. Let's create the right column first. So within this right column, we want to add another row layout. I know it's a little complicated, but just follow the steps and I'll give you all the settings. So now let's add a paragraph. And then a heading. And then another paragraph. And let's close it off with a button. So this button is similar to this. And now on the left, we want to add the image. Let's upload the image. Now let's click on the right column, either one of these paragraphs. And then let's select the section layer right before the paragraph. And let's change the background color. Let's paste this code in. Next, let's go to the SVG Images notepad and copy this link. And then we want to insert a background image. And then let's scroll down. And the border radius, we want to put maybe 30. Let's scroll down further. Over at the padding, the top padding, we want to put 60. At the bottom, let's put 50. And from the left, we'll put 60. And then over at the margin, on the left, we want to put negative 50. And then let's update this. Let's go to our site, refresh. And now we see this section basically done. We want to play with the margin and padding for the image. Now don't worry about how it looks like right now. Let's optimize it for mobile. So on the third row layout, 1, 2, and 3, let's select this row layout. Let's select mobile, and let's open up the mobile padding and margin. We want to make sure that this is 0 as well as this. And then next, let's click on either of the text. Let's select this row layout. Let's select mobile, and under mobile padding, on the left padding, we want to put maybe 30. And then for the mobile margin, a negative 100. Let us update, refresh. So over here on demo site, as you can see, if we move it down to the mobile view, you can see that it's like that. And on our site, so it's not exactly ideal because we need to stretch this all the way to the end as well as this. So again, I won't waste your time because there will be a lot of trial and error on this. So after I've completed everything, I'll give you a walkthrough on all the layers. So let's first take a look at the image layer. So by default, this image has a width of 976 and a height of 640. Then let's go to the section layer. Nothing much has changed other than the top padding. And then if we go to the row layout and the padding and margin, this is the default setting. And if we go to the mobile, we basically made sure to put zeros on the top and the right padding as well as the left padding. And if we go one layer before, nothing has changed. And if we go to the row layout, this is the default setting as well. And then on the mobile settings, nothing has changed. So that's basically it for the image layer. Now let's go to the yellow box and we'll start with the season special tags. So on the paragraph layer, there's nothing much that we can change. Let's go to the section. This is the section where we have added the background color as well as the image with a left of 50% and a top of 50%, and its cover and scroll, and with a border radius of 30 and a top padding of 60, bottom of 50 and left of 60. And on the margin there is a negative 50 on the left. This is the desktop padding. Let's go to the mobile. We didn't change anything. Then let's go to the layer before. Let's go to the mobile padding. This is the settings with a mobile margin of negative 100 at the top. And on the desktop, this is the standard settings. Let's go to section. We didn't change anything. And on the row layout, on the mobile margin, we made sure there are zeros at the top, right and left padding. For the desktop, nothing's changed. So if we go to the section, so this is the base layer where the image is stacked on top of this. So the settings should be the same with the image, so I won't go into that. So that's basically it for all the settings. All the rest of the elements on this yellow box, like for example this heading, this text, and the button, they are all on top of the same section. So all the settings from this section all the way back are all the same. And honestly, you can play around, you might even have better results than mine. It's all about trial and error. And if you have done something better than mine, maybe you can share your settings in the comment section, and I really appreciate that. But for now, this is the best that I can do, unfortunately. Okay, so now let's go to the next section, which is the bestseller. So this is almost similar to the new arrivals, so I won't dive too much into that. It is still under the same row layout, so make sure that you select this row layout. With this section, let us add a header and text, and then let's browse all and let's select the best-selling products. And then let's go to settings. As you can see, there are 4 columns here and 2 rows. So we'll put 4 columns, 2 rows. Let's remove the product rating and add to cart button, update, refresh, and this is basically done. So now let's create this logo section over here. This is actually quite simple. We're already out of the row layout. So we shouldn't add any blocks within the gray area. We need to add it in the white area. So over here, let's add a block. Let's add a row layout first. Next, let's add another row layout. This time around, we want to add 5 equal columns. So let's add a block, image, insert from URL. And then this is step number 9. This is the first image. Let's copy this, place it here, and we're done. Let's do the same for the other 4. And we're basically done. Let us update this first, and let's check out our new updates. So let's optimize this for mobile. As you can see here, there are 2 columns, and on our side is 1 column. So what we need to do is to select this row layout, select mobile. Let's select this option. So unfortunately, we can't make it look the same like this unless there are 6 logos. This is how the Kadence blocks work. So unless you have 6 logos, we can make it a pair. But if it's not even, this is the only option we have. So let us update this and refresh. We can only make it this way. Unless let us try to add another row layout with 6 equal columns. and then we just leave the 6th column empty. So let's test this out. We have this option here. Let us update and refresh. We can achieve the mobile version this way. But when it comes to the desktop version, there will be one empty space here. And we can do a little bit of adjustments here. So let's say that we go to the desktop version, and under padding and margin, we add a padding of maybe 100. Let's update this and test this out. This looks rather the center on the desktop version. And if we switch it to the mobile version, let's test this out. So let's see if this change does affect the desktop version. It doesn't. So this is one way that you can do it. It's just by adding padding on the desktop version, and then on the mobile version, we remove the padding from the left. So you basically see it this way. So let me remove this and add all the right logos in. Let us update, refresh. We have achieved this section. And before we end this section, I believe there are 2 shapes on the background. So let's go to the row layout, and then under background settings, we want to open this text document again. Let's copy this and let's paste the image here. Let's select contain, left, let's put it at 0. Let's update this first and see how it looks like. So at this point, let us just end this section here first. Let's add the other elements and then we'll go back to the background. Otherwise, it's very hard for us to determine the right position of the image. So now let us take a breather and see what we have achieved. I think it's quite a lot. So we have basically created a website that looks almost similar to the baby store demo site here. As you can see, it's quite similar. Not exactly the same, but I think it's quite amazing already. And at this point where we are finishing up, let's take this chance to test the websites. So let us open up Google PageSpeed Insights. Let's open another. So on the left, let's test our website. And on the right, let's test the demo site. See, it's pretty amazing, right? Given that there is this reduced initial server response time, if we test it again without this, because over here we don't have that issue here, and if we remove this issue, let's see what the rating is. So as you can see, there are lesser issues if you create a website with the WordPress editor, and there are lesser render blocking issues. And the rating is very much different. So this is the reason why I highly recommend people to design their websites with only the Gutenberg blocks. So let's close this off. That's it for our break. Let us head back to this. Okay, so we want to achieve something like this, where as you hover, there are some overlay effects. So what we need to do is to click on the previous section, and within this ping overlay, let's add block, row layout, 3 equal columns. So over here, let's add a block. Let's browse all. We want to add an info box. So let's go to the settings. Under the media settings, we want to remove the icon. Let's close this off. We want to keep the title, but we want to remove the text. So let's toggle this off. So under the container settings, let's give the padding maybe 50. And let's change the title. For the title settings, the title color, we want to make it white. And then for the container background, without the hover, we want to make it transparent. I'll explain to you why in a while. And then if we hover, the background, we want it to be a dark purple, just like this. But we want it to be a little transparent. So maybe a 0.4 should be good enough. Container border, we want to remove it. So this is how it looks. Now let's go to the section. This is where we add image. Let's upload files. Add this number 9. Let's update this first. Go to our site, refresh. We see an info box like this. We need the curve. So under the section, let's scroll down to the radius. Let's say we give it 40. Update, refresh. But there are too much space above. So let's go to the info box. Under container settings, let's split this open. Want to change this to maybe 30. Let's update this again. Not much difference, and I think the problem is with the section here. So what I did was to remove the container padding at the top. So let's expand this out and see how it looks. Not exactly what we want. So still, let's keep it as 50. Now here's the issue. As we hover over, we need the hover to have this curve as well. So at the container border radius, let's keep it 40 as well. It is the same with the section border radius. So let us update, refresh, and you will see it even. So if we can't make this centralized, I'm not sure why, then let's add some padding to the bottom. So let's say this is 70. Let's update and refresh. It needs a little bit more. So now this is even. And I think we can expand it out by adding more padding. So if we want this to look exactly the same, now it looks similar. So the settings are, for the top padding we have 100, and for the bottom setting we have a 200. So we want exactly the same style with this other two columns. So to not waste time creating these other two, let's copy the styles. Let's select this section, copy styles, click on this section, paste styles. And then let's edit the image. Let's upload another file. This is number 10. And then let's add the info box. Similarly, let's go to the previous info box. Let's copy styles and paste styles on this info box. And then under the media settings, we want to remove the icon. And then for the text settings, we want to remove the text. And under container settings, for the container background, we want to make it transparent. And this is clothes. Let's update this, refresh. And we have easily created the second info box. So let's do the same for the third, and we optimize it for mobile. So we are basically done with the desktop version. And if we go to mobile, you see that this tree section is very wide, and over at the demo site, it is very narrow here. So let's try to optimize this. Unfortunately, I don't see any way that we can optimize for mobile to make it look like this, because there are no mobile options at the container settings. So that's really unfortunate. So this is the best we can do. So it is either you sacrifice the desktop version, which already look very similar to the desktop version of this. Otherwise, you can completely optimize this for mobile and you sacrifice the desktop version. There's only one way to go. So now, since we can see most of the background, let's optimize for this pink shape. Let's select the row layout. So basically what I did was to click on this row layout layer, and then I make this base layer full width, so there won't be any gap here. And then I add some padding on the left and right to shift this little space here as well as here. And I think this is looking quite decent. So that's basically it for this section. Okay, now let's do this testimonial section. So let's scroll down. We are basically still under the same row layout. We can create a new one if we want to. So let's start a new row layout. Let's select this row layout. Make sure this is a full width. And under the structure settings, we want to toggle this. Now let's add a paragraph. Align center. Add a heading. Align center as well. Let's add a button. Under the button settings, I want to add an icon. So this is the same color as this. So let's copy this color code. Under text color, let's place this here. We don't need a border, so let's bring this transparent. And let's go for the hover. Text color should be around this green again. And there's no hover background, as well as the border. Let us bold this. So that's basically it. Now let us add testimonial, which is over here. Let's search for testimonials. So there are 2 testimonials. Let's place 2 here. And let's put this as 2 columns. So we can't basically make it look exactly the same as this because there are only these 4 styles here. So I think the closest to this is this style here. So let's select this. So let's first add the image, upload files. This is number 12. And this is number 13. And then let's go to container settings. The container background, we want to put in this code. And the container border as well, we want the same color. So there are ratings here. So let us add a rating. Let's change the color of the rating. The same as the text here. Copy the color code of this pink text. Then at the testimonials, ratings, let's change this to pink. And it doesn't have a title here, so under title settings, we will toggle it off. Let's add the text. So under container settings, we want to put a border radius of maybe 30 so that we can see the curve here, just like that. And then let's add the name. So the occupation settings, we don't need that. We only need the name. So let's copy this color code again. Let's place it on the name settings. And let's update this, refresh, and let's add some padding here. So let's go to the section. Let's add padding of 50 on each side. And this is how it looks right now. I think this is good enough. And that's basically it for this section. So this is the final step of the page, and then we'll move on to the footer. So let's build this. It's actually quite simple. So let's add a new row layout, a single column, and then let's go to the section. Let's add an image. This is number 14. And then let's add a border radius of maybe 30. And then let's add another row layout, a single column again. This is for us to add the background shape here. So let's insert from URL. Let's go to the text file under step 13. Let's copy this and paste it here. So now let's add block, a paragraph. So this is white color. Enter. Add a heading. Enter again. Copy this text. Paste it here and enter. Now here's the thing. If you already have an email autoresponder service, then you may need to use an additional plugin like WP Forms to create this form section here, because with WP Form, you can connect with almost every autoresponder service. But if you're completely new, you don't know which service to use, let me recommend you to something. Now before that, let me add the block. Let's search for form. Let's click on this. So we don't need the name section. We don't need the message section. So actions after submit. So honestly, what I recommend you to use is a service called MailerLite. They have a free version. If you scroll down to the description, there is a link for you. And once you click on that, you're able to set up a free account where they allow you to have 1,000 free subscribers on your list. So I think you really should check it out. You should sign up for a free account. If you're completely new, or even if you already have an email list, you may want to try out this service because this is connected to the Kadence blocks. Because right now, there aren't many services that are integrated with the Gutenberg blocks. Now let's get back to this. We want to make this look like this. So let's go to Fill Styles. The border, let's make it transparent. And under email settings, we don't want this email label to show. Let's toggle it off. And the column width, let's make this maybe a 60%. And then to bring this button up, we need to go to the button styles. Over here, column width, because this whole layer here is 100%. We have made this input fill to be 60%, and if we change this to 40%, this button should go up. So this entire row is 100%. So as you can see, this is pushed up. Now let's go to the email settings again. Now we have this email address over here, which is missing over here, and this can be achieved with this fill placeholder. Now for the button, we want a pink color, so this is the same pink that we use. Under the name settings, let's copy this, and let's open up button styles, button background, and then if we hover, the background is this green color. Let us update this and refresh. We need to push this out a little, so let's say maybe a 30 pixels. So let's click either one of the elements here. Let's go to the section and the padding. The left padding, let's add a 30 pixels. And then next, we want this button to be shifted up a little. So let's click on this form view, container settings, or maybe button styles, sorry. This desktop margin, let's increase this. Let's update this again. Refresh. Let's reduce it to 14. And this is aligned properly. So now there are paddings here. I think this is due to this row layout. So I'm not going to go through the paddings and margins. I think you should probably understand it by now. So you can play around with the layers and you can change the paddings and everything. Because if I go through it one by one, it will take super long. So let me just fast forward this section. And so we are basically done with this section. So this is how it looks like on desktop. I think it's quite similar, other than the font styles, which we will change in a while. And if we switch it to the mobile version, it's quite acceptable. So we are basically done with everything on the page, and we'll finally change all the font styles. So now let's edit the footer. To do that, we need to go to the customizer. Let's open up a new tab, and under appearance, customize. So let's go to footer builder. So this is the primary footer. Let's click on this settings. So over here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So let's select 4 columns. Let's select this. Now over here, let's add a logo. Let's put this widget 1. Let's open up widget 1, add widget. Let us add an image. This is the logo. Let's add. And we basically see it here. Now let's change the background color first. Let's click on this settings again. Under design, the background color, we want to add this color code. Let us publish. And let's take a look. So we need to change the background color of the bottom footer as well. So let's click on the settings, under design, color and image. Let's paste in the same color code. And let's publish, refresh, and we're done. So now let's open up this widget one again. Let us add a new widget. Let us put a text here. Let's copy this info, place it here. And then finally, there are some social media icons here. Let's add another widget. So there are no social icons here. Don't worry about that. Let's click on this area here. The social icons are here. So let's edit this. So as you hover to the icons, there is this pencil tool where you can edit this element. And if you go to design, under colors, the icon color, we can change it to this color code. Let's publish this and go to our sites, refresh. So let's try to push this back all the way to the corner. Let's go to general, alignment, let's change it to the left and publish. And we are here. So they have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we just need to add a YouTube. So let's add an icon. Let's select YouTube and add social icon, publish, refresh, and we're basically done. So we need to adjust the size of this logo. Let us click on this. Let us edit image. Let us custom size. Maybe width of 150. Let's update, publish, refresh, and we're basically done. So it looks identical here. Next, we need to add 3 columns of menus here. It's actually a very simple task. So over at this column, let's add an element, widget number 2. Let's click on this. So there was some bug here. As I refresh it, it's fine now. Let's click on this widget number 2, which is this. Let's add a widget. Let's go to navigation menu. For the title, let's put it as customer service. And let's select a menu. We need to create a new menu. So to do that, let's open up another tab, but let's go back to the WordPress editor. Let's go to appearance, menus. Let's create a new menu. Let's call this customer service. Let's create menu. And then let's just put all these custom links here. And we're basically done with this. Let's save menu. In the meantime, let's create this menu as well as this menu. So let's create new menu. Name this as categories. So let's go to categories, view all. It doesn't show the WooCommerce categories. So to make this a clickable link, let's go to WooCommerce. Let's open up a new tab. What we want to do is to grab the category link. Let's go to products, categories, and every category here, there is a link. Let's go to view, let's right click, copy link location. Sorry, let's go to the menus. This is the clothes category. Let's place this link here. Let's put this as clothing and fashion. Let's add to menu. Next, we have the toy category. Let's go to the view, right click, copy link, go to menus, place it here, put this as toys, add to menu. We'll do the same thing here. Let me fast forward this. So we're done with this menu. Let's save menu. And finally, let's add our final menu, our company. Create menu, add custom links, and we're done. Let's save menu. So now let's go back to the customizer. For the customer service, the reason it's not here is because we have saved the menus here, but over here it is not updated, so we have to refresh. But before that, let's publish this first to save the changes, and then let us refresh. So let's go to the footer builder again. Under widget 2, let's open up this navigation menu, select menu. You see all these new menus created. So let's select the customer service, Next, over at this column, let's add widget number 3. Sorry, widget 4. Double click on this. You see there's some bug again. Let's publish again and refresh. And let's add a widget. Navigation menu. Put a title as categories. And then let's select the category menu. Publish. And finally, we have widget number 5. Let's add widget. Let's do the same thing again. Let's publish, refresh, and all the info are here. And then finally, let's change the copyright text. So let's double click on copyright. Let's refresh again. So what we currently have is copyright. All we need to change is this site title, and powered by, let's change this to Baby Store. So the site title, you can either use this code, and I will show you in a while where to change this, or you can just directly add a Baby Store here. Both way works, just that if you use this code, it's drawing information under header builder. Double click on logo, is right here. So if we change this to Baby Store, let's publish this first, but let us not display the site title. And if we scroll down all the way and refresh it, we can basically see this is changed to Baby Store. So we are basically done with the footer section, and we are basically done with almost the entire site. It's just that the heading and some text we have to change the font style, and that's all. So let me show you a very simple way that we can change everything. So on the customizer, let's go to global. Under typography, let's go to headings. Let's go to heading 1. Let's search for SRIR. This is the font. As you can see, this is changed. Let us change the size of heading 1 to maybe 45. And then let's go to heading 2 as well. Let's search for SRIR. This is the font. Let's change this to maybe 35. Let's publish this. Refresh. And we can see that almost all the header are changed, and it looks very similar to the demo store. So now let's change the font color. As you can see here, it's a little purple. So now we need to go back to the page. Let's scroll up all the way to the top. Double click on this. Color settings, custom color. Place this color code here. Update. Refresh. And this is changed. So all this as well, you can change the colors. As you can see, they are all purple. So congrats, you have created an e-commerce store. So I hope this tutorial has been helpful, and if it did, let me know in the comments, and I hope to get a thumbs up from you. Also, if you have any troubles with your site, feel free to let me know in the comments as well. I will try my best to help you out. Do subscribe as well. I share lots of WordPress stuff. Anyway, you might be interested to know how to improve your WordPress site speed, so I have 9 tips for you. You can check out the video on the right, and thank you so much for sticking around. I hope you find success with your e-commerce store.